Good afternoon, and welcome to a dev stream. It is that time of the week. We are working on support for Sentinels, Steam Workshop, and mods. And yeah, today we're going to be getting back to it. I am John, lead developer at Handelabra, and I've been doing this for a while. It's been pretty good. Hello, Jake. Jake is a mod author. Always good to see you here, and other mod authors. We'll probably see some more people filter in over the afternoon. It's a nice snowy day here in Canada, in the part of Canada where I am. Yeah, so last time we did a lot of stuff on the placeholders, and then a bit of work on like completionist guys. Gonna get back into finishing up the placeholders. Should be able to wrap up all the integration right now, and then there'll maybe be a few more arts that Jennifer needs to put in, but it should be ready to go. So hopefully we should be able to get that out and available very soon. That's the idea. So I've been looking at the end game and got a few things done already today, so I can show you where that's at. If we run it here, it's set up for a regular villain, so it's loading a placeholder art. I just copied some arts over. Jennifer will adjust these so they're the right crop and everything. But those are in, it's loading them. And also a hero sprite. I just grabbed like existing ones, Absolute Zero and whatever, to throw in there. That's in this atlas here that I put in the placeholders. So that is in there, and yeah, so that's good. I also got the team villain working. I'll show you that, because why not? Where are we here? Endgame view, our little debug setup here. Oh, and you also see that environment, it's not loading a texture for the environment, but at least it's putting that sort of background gradient that we've been using instead of a actual graphic, just a background gradient color for the environment. And so then we have a team villain that's, going to be a different placeholder art as well. So the last thing is actually Oblivion Mode. So if we do this, and we've got workshopping.devstream in there, and let's just see what this setup looks like. I think basically it's the environment that's the most important thing. The hero cells should just work. So Oblivion itself has like just the fixed background, but yeah, so environment's destroyed. I think this blank one is the one that's supposed to be the dev stream one. Maybe I'll have it name those so I know. Know what's going on there. Lost environment cell prefab. Yeah, let's just say .name equals n dot qualified identifier. Just identifier. That's good enough. This is just so we see what's going on in the editor here. Probably that is the one that is supposed to be ours, but we'll just double check. Yeah, I guess it's the card identifier, but that's fine. So basically what we want to do, I think, is yeah, so this one is grabbing from endgame environments Atlas. And that is looking for it in the mod. I think. Yeah, looking for the mod and I can't find that graphic, so it's failing for that. So we could have different, yeah, we don't actually have different arts for the environment, so maybe we'll just put it as a, like a literally white square type image, right? I have these, I threw these in here, but I think that's not actually, let's just call it like environment. What do we have for the deck backs? Deck back 0, whatever. Yeah, if we just call it literally just environment. Well, let's just go back to the code and see what we got here first. We call configure with environment. And yeah, we can check to see if we succeeded, right? If we didn't succeed, use a placeholder. And yeah, this is actually clearing the atlas. And actually we could just have literally a sprite in this one that's included. That's just a white square, right? Like this has space. Doesn't super matter. So we need to get the info, parent deck, definition. Well, okay. How do we program placeholder info? Just that. And just go to somewhere else where we do this. Gradient. So this is for the background. We do the same thing. We get the info and we just set the gradient. Yeah, so. Yeah, so you know what, we'll just. We need to load the Sprite Atlas. Hero Sprite, mod manager dot environment endgame placeholder atlas name, and then sprite name is just going to be, I guess info.deck identifier is going to be like environment. Which should be fine. So this is going to at least load the Sprite Atlas. It's not going to actually have the right sprite name, but we should see that it actually has the atlas if we run this. This gives us the option to maybe add more graphics, but I think we probably won't. Oh, I didn't find the atlas. How are we doing that in, what's in the same file here, literally? Oh, I guess we need to like actually get a path. Okay. We're just trying to do it too casually. And we can also set the gradient. Okay. All right, so for dropped frame, we have the gradient. We didn't have the atlas. Are we calling the right? No, we're not calling the right thing. We're not calling the right calls. We need to call this. I don't know where I got that from. Users help load Sprite Atlas. Okay. We'll get there. All right, we got the Atlas, and we're looking to try the sprite named Environment, which doesn't exist. So, yeah, so let's like just delete these other ones and make one that's just called Environment. And literally, this should just be like a white square. Not a square, but like the right shape. Which I could just like do. I don't know. Let's go grab our classic white square image and put it there. And it should just stretch it anyways, right? It doesn't really matter. And this Atlas, yeah, actually, I need to make a thing that updates this because I don't have that. Update. End game. I think that's what it's called. Yeah. Then the Atlas is this. Source image slash end game slash star. Okay. And run that. Just change it. Change the Atlas to have exactly that. And cool. It's got the little white square. Okay, so maybe we'll just update this plan to include that. Okay, so let's run the build on this. And then we should actually choose that sprite. Cool. So we just get like a gradient, which is fine. They don't need to be awesome. They just need to be there. Okay. So that is loading that image for us in Oblivion mode. And I think that's it for the end game screen. So that's cool. So let's, yeah. Okay, save project. And, excuse me. Update end game atlas. Blank environment sprite. And then in Sentinels, basically, that's just our sort of testing stuff. That's fine. And this is use placeholder sprite for Oblivion environment cell. Okay, so that is the ending. Basically just needs those images to be updated, which I added a list here for Jennifer. And yeah, so what's left is basically villain team characters are actually loading now because I think maybe they just didn't have the right files before. So if we go into an actual game, say, I think I have that. Or maybe it was the new game screen. I don't know what game we have here. Null reference. Oh, right. I actually disabled some of the mods for working on the end game screen, so things broke a little bit there. It won't load the game. So if you look at team villain characters, they've got sort of two halves, and this texture is actually a different texture. So if we go to our mod character, it's loading the small card is like fine. The full card, the image here is not big enough, and this side is blank. You can see the villains has like a different one. And those images are actually here in the game. Scions have one too, for those sort of wide cards that you get in Team Villain mode, and Scion cards. And so what I'm thinking is we should have like a version of this that's just for mods, and we like tint it based on the card. So that's this item here. I'm just going to put that up there as a thing we need. And for the villain team character cards, we either need different graphics or just like the graphics should work for both regular villains and team villains. Because like regular villains, the art is fine because the actual texture is like, you know, a certain width. But for team villains, it's actually like the artwork's a little wider. It's not the exact same aspect ratio of artwork. So basically, use one image for both classic/team if possible. If not, we can have separate. That would be fine. We can integrate that if that's needed. And then so we also need the team game intro. That is something that we don't have in the placeholders yet, and we'll add that. So right, game intro is probably trying to load some mod stuff that isn't there. So let's close everything and go to game intro and just sort of, oh, here's game intro. Yeah. We're getting a null reference for placeholder. Yeah, this is probably because in the end game screen, I think it like sets up with a frame later, which is helpful for doing mod stuff. It like calls start. I guess, no, it does go ahead and go with everything. So the mod thing gets a chance to go first. No, it doesn't though. So I don't, it doesn't get a chance. So why does this one fail? Where's our null reference? 217. When we're environment definition comes from that. Yeah, for some reason, I guess script ordering, maybe it's because of the name of the script or something. For whatever reason, the mod manager gets to go first in the other scene, and it comes second in this scene. There's a like script execution order thing. We could say that mod manager gets to go first. I don't know if that's gonna... But mod manager doesn't actually do anything until... Oh, I guess it's because, yeah, because nothing has actually called mod manager yet. That's why we don't, whereas in endgame view, we're probably calling mod manager on something before we actually try to go to deck definition or whatever. That's probably what it is. So what if we just put in a reference to mod manager? Like, do that. That should get it started in time. Yep, okay. That does the trick for what we need here. So we're getting a lot of stuff from like the game view stuff, but we actually don't have any, like if we add migrant coder in here, we should see our placeholder. I think we did all this screen ages ago, but yeah, there's a placeholder popping up. You can see. So instead of Spite, let's set up a team villain. Game by just uncommenting this. We got 5 villains, 5 heroes, and right, if the team villain, if the mod one is the first one, it's fine, but if it's not the first one, we're missing that sprite, I think. That's what we saw. We just did that from the new game screen, but at least now we can cycle it. Yeah, so that's the placeholder there, but we don't have it if we do it in the other order. Like this. And that's what we can wrap up, and that should be it for that integration. Yeah, we just get the blank sprite. So that should be easy enough to deal with. We got the team villain cell, and basically the same typical thing, right? We try to load the Atlas. This is going to be very similar to what we do in these other cells when we're looking for a sprite. I'm just going to copy this and we'll modify it. So we're given a deck identifier and a character identifier. We do want, right, I guess we just want the, can we pass in whatever our different constructors? It's been a whole week, I forgot. Right, character cutouts when we don't have a definition at hand, which is kind of what we want here. We want to use this constructor where we pass character identifier and the deck definition. Because we want like it to be based on the character, I think. This is, we'll call this game intro. Or we'll just use this Atlas name that we already have. Yeah, because we had separate atlases for endgame, but the placeholder, there's very few images, so it just has one. Right, and our sprite is called Villain Sprite, and we can just replace this character identifier, and it will set the sprite name for us. Okay, so it's going to try to load the Sprite Atlas now. It's going to fail, but we can at least verify that it's trying the right thing. Might be a lot to look at in this log because it actually also tries to load the game, right? I guess we can look from the top. Yeah, here it's looking for the Atlas Villain Team intro, and it says, let's look for the placeholder Atlas Villain Team intro Atlas 0. That seems fine. Let's call it that. All right, so back in placeholder land, we need to make a folder here for Villain Team intro. And let's just copy some from Sentinels. Team Villain intro. Villain Team. Team Villain Villain Team. You know, the age-old thing. Let's just copy. No, put them in the right folder. And this is Villain 0 character, Villain 1 character, Villain 2 character. And Jennifer will replace these with things that look like the actual placeholder characters. Let's make a new Sprite Atlas. Open Atlas Maker. New one. These images. Create. Call it that. Okay. And we can just package this before we do the rest to make sure it gets the right stuff. And let's, I mean, it should work. Should work. Does work. Cool. Okay. And obviously that's going to be replaced with the correct image. Cool. So let's just do the other bits we need to do here. We can make an action to update the Atlas with this is the Atlas, and these are all the images that go into it. Where's our source image folder gone there? Okay, and if we run the action, it should work. I guess we can fix the texture settings. And when we run this action, it should work. Cool. And we'll throw this into the plan. The plan, boss, the plan. As well. That should be all the atlases and everything for the placeholders, just like fleshing out the rest of the arts. As far as I know, unless something else comes up that's important. So let's repackage that. And it seems good to me. All right, so let's save project, commit all that stuff in the placeholders, add Villain Team Intro Atlas. And then in Sentinels UI, basically use placeholder if needed for Team Villain Game Intro Cell. Some of those words in some combination. All right. So So this other integration item that the definition could specify the image or color to use. It's kind of interesting, but I'm not gonna I think there's other more important stuff to do right now. So I'm going to just convert this to another card. Placeholder, artwork. We're just going to convert this to a card so we can move it to a different priority. Like, we'll put it back here. I think it's all right. And then the rest is just like finalizing the images. Villain, team, game intro, sprites. Yeah, just like finalizing those images, getting a set that we're happy with, and then publishing it out is kind of the rest. I think in terms of getting that shipped out initially is fine, and then we can look at adding that ability for mod authors to like say, you know, please use this one for this card or these colors or whatever. We're also going to be like publishing the actual, you know, Photoshop files for those, so you can take them and like do more interesting stuff. If you know, you want to use the placeholders, but like color them in like paint by numbers, like you could do that. Or add in your own logos or things like that. Like there's ways, we're basically going to put them out so that you can modify them and mash them up in different ways if you like. Cool. So let's get back now, I think, to choosing cards from the box. That was what we got a little bit into last time. And so I wanted to get back into that. I think that's where my continue game was from and causing problems. So actually, one thing that we could look at for a second is like, we couldn't continue this game because of errors. Oh, we did this time. I wonder if... Oh, right, because of the game intro work we're doing. But basically, like, so we have a game there, but what if we, like, didn't have the mods anymore? Then, like, if I take this mod out, I want it to not, like, crash. It should, like, basically not be able to continue the game. But it shouldn't, like, get you stuck here if you, like, delete a mod and then... Yeah, so we actually get an exception here and we get stuck. That's the thing. We do have checks to see, like, if the load game fails, it, like, goes back to the main menu or whatever. But right now, so as far as the engine knows, it's like, okay, I loaded the game, like, whatever. But then there are... Even this is like an error in the analytics. It's just like things didn't load properly and we don't really know what happened. So that's interesting. I think it's something we could probably prevent on the main menu. So on the main menu, we're like waiting to show the continue button until things are loaded correctly, right? And we're checking here, I'll load continue, and if the game didn't load because like the file was corrupted or whatever, it won't allow you to continue the game. But that's obviously not dealing with everything. The game is loading. And basically it just like has exception handling, and if it fails, it's like... So I think we need to like add some validation in here. Basically like make sure if the game has mod content, we have the mod. Like, so That's kind of what I'm thinking about here. So mod manager. What we can do, well, let's just go in here and do like game dot. Yeah, just like if we just log the game string, we get like a bunch of stuff. I just want to see like what this game is. Can we like detect that there's mod content and that mod content is not available, basically? Wait. Did we not save our script? I thought we did. This. Then log the game. It didn't output anything. Oh, right. We're calling, that's the engine's log, and we don't, since we didn't come from splash screen. We don't actually have that hooked up. And actually, if we go from the splash screen, there's probably going to be engine errors when we load the game. But, so that's, I guess that's one thing we could check for. Because when you play the game in real life, there's always going to be, yeah, we get warnings and errors about, from the engine. And, yeah, so this is like, so yeah, one thing I was thinking was basically if there's errors from the engine during mod loading, it's no good, basically. Yeah. And that could be something that we show in the, like the mod screen, right? Well, I guess your mod's not loaded. Yeah, I don't know. That's something to think about. I don't know if I want to get into that today. I'm going to add a card here, which is like handle problems. Yep, it is. Hello, Bertez, and this is Unity. Yes. Handle the case where a mod is removed / changed and continuing a game would fail. Like, it should really, this should not let you continue the game from the main menu. And worst case, like, it should try to load, then fail back to the main menu. Like, it should not ever just like freeze and crash. So, which is what is currently happening. And like, I just know there's going to be so many places where the game is going to assume like the content exists, because why wouldn't it exist, right? Like, there is no like situation until now where content, like the deck would not exist. Like, I guess if you're like, maybe if you're loading a save game from today in like version 1.0 of Sentinels, like sure it would fail, but like that's not something we have to worry about really ever. So we worry more about, you know, compatibility going forward, not going backward like that. So yeah, so that's basically, I think we need to be able to detect, or maybe when we load the game, when we load the game could know, we could find out from the game what are all the mods that are in the game and make sure that all the mods are loaded. So I'm just going to note that. I mean, I could probably put that in. That's pretty simple, right? Game.turntakers. Like, where is mod content. Namespace. Yeah, and that's recorded. So this isn't going to be totally future-proof, right? Because you might like have the wrong version of the mod or whatever, or not recording that in the game. But that's something we could record in the game when you create it, and say you need to make sure to have the exact at least a later version or whatever. But this will cover most cases where like you delete a mod and try to resume the game. So we can be like, and actually we also want to concat game.cards, get all cards, where is mod content. And then we can just throw a distinct on the end. So because of variants, right? Like we want to get character cards or basically anything. Like and actually I want this distinct to go like on the very end. So we're taking all the turn takers that are mod content, get their namespace, all the cards that are mod content, get their namespace, throw them all together, make it distinct, and slog that out. Null reference. Interesting. When we ask for if the card is mod content, that shouldn't ever happen. Let's pop into the engine. Is mod content on card? I guess the definition could be null for a card. Are there cards without definitions? Sure. I don't know what card that would be. But apparently it can happen. Get parent deck has a null reference. Is parent deck not? Oh, I guess this could be a null. What is the card that has a null parent deck? That has a null definition? That's what I want to know. I'll add that. I'll add a check for that after. This dot definition equals null. So if our definition is null, our parent deck is null. Otherwise, it's our definition's parent deck, I guess. Like, should not be a thing. All cards come from decks. There's no, and all cards have a definition, I wonder what it is that... I wonder if that's a mod thing. So yeah, so we end up finding the namespace that this game has, and then we can at least check to see that the namespaces are around. We can also make sure that the mods have those turn takers, right? We could do more, but let's do this basic thing first, which I think will stop those issues. So game uses mod namespaces, like game.getAllCards, where c.definition is null. I guess we could just log the two strings. What? Why is there a card with a null definition? Does that have to do with mods, or is it just something weird? It is our migrant coder character and all of its cards, worst card ever, are coming up with a null definition in... Oh, of course they are, because we couldn't load the mod. So that's why. So this is like, if cards have null definitions, then it's probably an indicator that something is wrong. But let's, that might be a more robust way than checking names. Like if there's a null definition, then we couldn't load everything we needed. And the same thing with turn takers, right? So like missing card definitions, or cards missing definitions. And also this, like, turn takers as well, right? Will not have a definition. Except Oblivion games, they're allowed to not. So I guess we can say like not C dot is Scion. Turn takers missing definitions. And let's just grab the identifiers. Okay. Yeah, I think this might be a little more robust than checking the namespaces, because normally a game should never have that. And we can double check Oblivion too. Yeah, so turn taker missing definition and cards are missing definitions makes sense because yeah, so I think what we can do is basically say if turn takers any debug.error log this in for the benefit of mod developers. Otherwise, if cards missing definitions, we'll put that up. In here as well. And yeah, otherwise it's valid. So now the continue button won't appear because the game won't work if you continue it. Is the goal. Yeah. And we log that error. And so if we put that mod back, we're not deleting the file or anything. So if we put the mod back, it's okay. We're still getting errors about it's not able to load Cricut or whatever, but we're not using that in this game. But that's actually a good test, is the variant thing. So if we go and make a new game, literally all vanilla content except our wayward bunker. There's no turn takers with the missing definition, right? It's going to be just bunker. Just bunker's variant is going to be the only one. Okay. So we run here normally. It should be like everything is fine. Continue game is there. But if we, whoops, get rid of the mod. And I like this solution because we don't need to worry about like looking at the manifest or looking anything up. We just literally like, is the game able to have its information? So here actually we do, it does say it's correct, but we do get the warning. So what it's going to do when I continue is going to be regular bunker, I bet, right? Like that's what's going to happen. Yeah. So that's not the end of the world. It's not ideal, but it's also doesn't break. So that's potentially okay. I want to check. Yeah, I'll maybe think about that, but I think that's not the end of the world if that's what happens. Let's make an Oblivion game because Oblivion has the Scion turn takers. We're not using any mod content here. But I know that's a weird thing in Oblivion. Just want to make sure that Oblivion can continue their game correctly. Oh no, Aeon Master. Haven't played Sentinels on stream for a couple weeks. It's been all Spirit Island. Maybe next week we'll play Sentinels. Alright, Oblivion plays a card so we can continue from there. So let's see. Yeah, we're okay. So just as a curiosity, if I did take out this not is Scion, I think it's going to be like, nope, there's no definition there. Because I think that not having a definition is expected for Scion turn takers is the thing. Yeah, so here it is. Scion 1, Scion 2. So yeah, we just need to say if it's not a Scion and has null deck definition. So we could add a check for that variant thing, but it's kind of like a really, really niche case. So it's not going to fail. So I'm going to say it's done. And I'm going to commit this because I noticed this while I'm testing is this will happen when I move mods in and out. What did we change in here? Right, we added... Oh, right, we added null checks because we actually needed to... We didn't actually... These null checks aren't super needed because we're not calling that anymore. So I'm actually going to discard these changes. I don't want those changes. I'd rather have it have an exception if something goes on like that. So we're not checking that property anymore. We're just literally checking the definitions. So validate, continue files to make sure definitions are loaded. Avoids loading a game where mod content is not available. Okay, so that is that. Okay, so let's go back to choosing from the box, I guess, right? Oh. Get a stretch. So last time we were looking at completionist guys, I think, because we just decided to start with the hardest thing. I don't know. We just decided to start with completionist guys for some reason. And we got to the point where we can do that. So let's start. I think we had to like, did we have a debug game with that? I can't remember. Let's go to my config file. I guess we did. Maybe. Let's start our game in debug mode and see. Did I put my mod back? No. Just put it back in case. Oh, but yeah, I think we did it. We must have made a manual game. So let's go in the splash screen again. Just get the mod loaded up that way. And go new game. Not Oblivion Mode. We'll get completionist guys. And bunker, because of our variant of bunker. And migrant coder. I guess there was also the like cricket one or whatever, but that's fine. And the environment doesn't matter. Okay. Guys is just going to use his power. Right, so we were able to get it to show selecting, right? We got all three heroes available, so if we pick migrant coder, then we want to be able to choose one of migrant coder's variants, but right, and here it's actually just going, there's only one, so it's not even presenting the decision. I think that's why we actually had the cauldron in there, right? Was because the cauldron had like more options. Let's bring the cauldron back. And start a new game with one of the cauldron heroes that has more variants. So Baron Blade. Guys, bunker, yeah, like Tango 1 has like 3, and we'll bring cricket because of that cross mod variant thing. All right, this is our test setup then. Baron Blade, do whatever you want. We'll be fine. He does flesh repair nanites again. Who wrote this program? It did the same thing twice in a row. That's impossible. Okay. So we have all of these as options. So we pick this Tango 1. We get 2 options, which is correct. But I think once we pick one, we're going to get those errors. Yeah, engine error. We couldn't get the type for the card controller, and I bet this is because of namespace. It's not doing the qualified namespace, probably. So let's see. We're gonna have to like dig into like what information is going where. So we're probably gonna have to have both the engine and the UI code open here. New instance. I think this was UI game view had the select from box. Yeah. Handle guitar cards in box. This is where we were like telling it what cards are in the box. But then there's also the decision as well. The decision handling part, which is what we're having trouble with now, right? Is the decision handling part. And we should be able to just continue the game now, too, to reproduce the problems. Because we should be at Guys' power phase. Yeah, and so one thing I'm curious, if we pick Cricket, do we see... Yeah, we don't actually get the one from my mod. So, it'd be nice if I should put the title on here. Not doing that. We do have the deck backs looking a little better now, right? Yeah, a little bit. We should be having the title on the character cards if it's placeholder. So we're not getting the cross mod variant coming across for Cricket. So let's see. But we still obviously need to support the basic case, which is the variant within the mod. So let's go to Completionist Guys and see what Completionist Guys is up to. All right, so we're getting the list of cards in the box, at least partially correct. And, right, hey look, a note for myself. We got to this point, selecting a variant from the mod hero. Probably qualified identifier issues. Seems accurate. Right, so if the card already exists, find it. And if not, we need to create it. Right, so here it's just assuming that the variant comes from the deck, which is not necessarily the case because of mods. So that's where we're failing, I think. Wow, it's snowing good. Looked out there and there's some accumulation happening. All right, so yeah, creating the selected variant. We're getting back we're getting a selection, which is this select from box decision. I'm guessing this is not a qualified identifier. because it wouldn't have to be before. The UI passes back like it gives it, well, it's an index, right? So I guess where we create that is where we need to use choices, choose index, and the choices are just a key value pair. Right, so this is being initialized with these things, and I guess this should be a qualified identifier. It's interesting this isn't working for even like things within the mod. So if we, I just want to see what the output is. We can throw some more logging in maybe and stuff. If we do this, and we choose Tango 1, yeah, I might quiet some of these logs with the graphics because right, so we found what we returned back in the box. Cauldron Tango 1 has Ghost Tango 1 character. Cauldron Tango 1 has Past Tango 1 character. We get the select from box decision. And a lot of graphic loading, debugging. Yeah, and then we're done. So actually, I think I want to throw and then we actually get to here, which is nice. And we show the right information, like that's all good. Once we pick one, sure, choosing index 0 and get type for card controller. This is from the engine. Oh, interesting. Guys, Ghost Ops Tango 1 character. What is being called there? Where's that log coming from? It's using Guys' deck identifier. So that's obviously going to be a problem. It's certainly not going to find Guys in here. And yeah, then it's just going to continue failing because of this. Guys is creating the card controller somewhere. Okay, so I think I want to see what exactly the information is that's being used here. And we can't really easily debug it, so maybe we'll throw a log into here. We'll just like just do that, and that's going to let us see like what's the information in here, because I think it's going to be, it's here where it's like creating the card. Yeah, it's making Guys own the card, but it's not finding, or it's finding like a bad definition. Yeah, this should actually like be finding the right thing. Let's just log a bunch and see what we're at. Creating a card for the variant. All right. But yeah, this should... I don't know where we're getting into mod helper. I guess it's here where we get into mod helper. So something is not right. But it might be that we're not just passing the right information or something like that. So let's see if we get some more information about what's going on. Guys is weird. All right, we pick Tango 1, and now we clear this and we pick, make a choice. All right, here's our logs. We select from the box. The selected identifier is that. The turn taker is that. That's what I want, right? That seems correct. We're creating a card for the variant, which makes sense. The owner deck definition is Tango 1, okay. And the card definition, right, okay. So it does find the card definition. I could double check that that's the promo, but it probably is. So the problem is when we're creating it and having guys own it, the factory is like, what? I think. So we go into create instance, but we're passing guys' turn taker controller. And yeah, guys. Yeah, we basically look up guys is, but how, like, is this passing override namespace? Is that how it's working? Yeah, it's overriding the namespace to use the selected turn taker's identifier. Okay, so it's using this, and so normally it would be like guys, but instead it's the mod one. Right. Woof. Okay. And I see. So instead of putting this, should actually be using card namespace, not this. Because if it's overridden, we should be using the override. I think that never mattered before. Yeah. I think Guys is the only one who does this foolishness. Maybe. Maybe the Social Tribunal does. So then it should find the right... it should be able to make the card. And... let's see. This might do it. It might also get to the next problem, whatever that is, but we'll see. Guys is special. Okay. All right, just make sure everything is okay here in terms of things loading. And let's do this. Let's pick Tango 1. And let's pick the purple Tango 1. Well, Ghost Ops. Let's keep with the Ghost Ops one. And okay. So we do get a failure here. We're passing in. So we're calling this, and we're passing in cauldron.tango1 as the override namespace. So we're passing that into mod helper. But cauldron.tango1 should be correct. Thing. I guess, no, the namespace should be just cauldron, right? Or no, it's the oh, this one's a non-qualified. Right. This one's a non-qualified thing, and this is passing in a qualified thing. You could also look for, we could assume also it might be qualified, which would be fine. We would just like try it twice. I mean, or I guess what if this just takes? How does it? I guess it looks in all of the assemblies and tries to find one that matches, right? Yeah. For each assembly, we assume that the deck identifier is not that. So we could say we could convert it to a non-qualified one here, or we could just not pass it in as qualified to begin with, or we could handle it as qualified at the end. What else calls this? So, guys is where we are. Guys calls it a few times. Representative Earth also calls it. And then this calls it without overriding. And I don't know what this is doing, and why is this? What is this? Replacing a turn taker. Okay, right. So I feel like I don't want to change all these places that are passing it in with qualified. I think I kind of want to be able to handle it being qualified. Here. So we could say this could be qualified or non-qualified. And then, yeah, we actually just check to see if it's qualified. Check to see if the deck identifier is qualified. If contains a dot, right, then it's qualified. Well, we can just do the like this. If it's not qualified, we do that. If it is qualified, I guess if we save it, if it contains dot and, well, basically if it matches the space here, so, and deck identifier starts with the namespace, then we don't use the namespace. We just use the deck identifier. Right? Right? Yeah. Otherwise, we put in the namespace. I feel good about that. Let's try it. Did we compile? Yeah, we did, just to make sure. Okay, let's continue. Guess if we screwed up everything, it wouldn't even load the game properly here, so looks like it did. Let's use that power on Tango 1 and pick the first one. It worked. It worked. We select from the box, create the card. Then we got switch Tango 1 with Ghost Ops Tango 1. And Ghost Ops and whatever the back is, I guess. And under here is the other version. Completionist guys, doing it up. I don't know, what does the power do? Deal 1 damage? Sure, let's do it. Oh, that's funny. The comic books thing actually worked, right? Like, it picks a random issue from that deck. And it did pick one. That message. Let's try it again. This message that comes up. Just like an Elemental Wrath number 5. That must be one of the issues that pops up in the deck here. Banish number 100. Neon Jungle, Supernova. There's Elemental Wrath number 5. So it'll pick a random issue number from the cards in the deck. Is what it does for that. Spoiler alert. Cool. So, and this works. So that's cool. And we didn't have to change very much. So that's the sort of base case, is a variant within a mod. So check. Now let's try a variant for core game content. So let's try the bunker. We might want to commit what we have too, because be happy with it. So we don't find, and this is going to be in the UI. We are not seeing the hero from the box there. Okay, so let's go back and just commit this change in the engine. I'm just going to like comment out these debugs because they might come in handy. Actually, you know what? We didn't actually change this file, did we? So we can keep the debugs in while we're... and we can get rid of this. In the engine, I think we changed... like, this didn't actually change besides logging. It's mod helper This changed. And mod helper changed. We can say allow this to accept qualified deck identifiers to work properly with completionist guys. And that is spelled wrong. Okay. And this is just logging right now. So in the UI, we're basically not getting... We need to go back to the UI for this case, because we're not getting the cards in the box. So right, there's all these... Yeah, so basically once we chose bunker, then it asks again, and we check all of bunker's cards, but we're not checking mods. I think that's the thing. I'm gonna take a quick break, and we'll dive into this aspect of it. So I will do ye old BRB, and I will be right back. It is becoming a winter wonderland out there. Maybe I can get a picture of it. Well, looks snowy there. Can't really see anything though. I bet this one. Yeah, that's about what it looks like outside. Wait. All right. Cool. So Guys is working basically, but we need to support a mod variant of a Handelabra hero, which might also work for mod of a mod, but let's start with that. So, right, here we are checking, refresh myself here. So we're looking for, right, I guess this is like all of the heroes, and then this is not looking at, there's a whole other thing, right, which is the mod variants. I guess that's, I don't know if mod manager gets us that. Get available variants for deck. I guess we can just go through, we need to go through like all, basically this needs to go through all content possible, and ask these criteria if it's allowed, right? So, yeah, I guess for each hero, get available variants for deck. Does this pull up? It must, right? Because we use it for the new game screen. So if like we pass in like bunker or whatever. So for each possible hero, we go and say for each card definition and promo definition, but then we also want to check for mod variants. Mod manager dot get available variants for deck. I guess that's just strings. Is strings enough? Or we could get the actual card definitions. I think the strings are enough, right? Hero definition dot qualified identifier. And then we just check to see if it's allowed. I guess we can just say .where identifier criteria. Then for each one, we just add it. I guess it might be easier to just like then we can be like just log it out so we know what's going on. Checking mod variant. Make sure we're sending in the right information. And yeah, we need to add basically this. Yeah, I mean, we could probably add here instead. Mod manager dot instance dot get available variants definitions for deck, right? Let's do it separately here, and then we'll move it up there. Oh, because I just want to see it separately here first. But if this works, we can just basically include it in here, I think. Sorry, a little sleepy. It happens on Friday afternoons. Sometimes. All right. So we're going to click bunker and get a null reference. From what? Oh. So it did find it. But then the null reference is from when it's trying to put it on here. Okay, so that did work, despite having a null reference. And so I think what we can just do is basically, do this, get available variant definitions for DAC. And what does this do if like we don't have mods? Nope. Well, I guess we'll have, oh my goodness. Get available variant definitions for DAC. Let's go to that. Right, so it's not gonna be null. So instead of having this whole thing, we just do that. That should be simpler. All right, do this, clear. Oh, right. Don't clear. I mean, we got to the same spot, I think, but I want to make sure that we did get the right thing. Just want an easier log to look at, that's all. All right, before we click bunker, or before we click confirm. Right, so cool. So in the box, number 1, freedom 6, termination, freedom 5, and wayward bunker. But that is missing its namespace, which is probably important. Qualified prom identifier? It isn't. Yeah. Because these are not always promos. Interesting. So I guess we want a qualified promo identifier or identifier. Yikes. Okay. So this null reference is probably, we're actually getting a null card definition here. In our results, so something is getting screwed up somewhere where it's the heroes card definitions and the promo. Oh, right. So this is not including the variants, which might be just what's happening. Do this. And I mean, we can still do a null check here. Let's do this. Add a little safety there as well. But I think this should, well, we'll see. I think this might work. I feel like there might be missing a qualified identifier somewhere though. So we shall see. Bunker. All right, so yeah, so we just had the null check here saved us, so we got to this log that I just put in. So this is where we're showing that decision, and I think the problem, yeah, is here that this promo identifier should be qualified, probably. Heroes card definitions, along with the promo card definitions, along with the variants. Finding the first one where the promo identifier is Wayward Bunker character. I'm just going to change this so we can, mainly so we can log out. What we're missing here, because we're getting close. We still obviously have to get to the point where we actually pick it, so we're not all the way out of the woods, but we're in the woods. Definitely in the woods. Okay. So, all right, possible definitions. All of Bunker's regular cards, but yeah, this 2-string is just not useful. How about dot where? Well, no, it's not. I guess it's where they're character cards, right? They have to be character cards. Okay, this is promo identifier. Identifier is what it's looking for. Should be a little less spammy. All right, bunker character, yeah, okay. So we get Wayward Bunker character. And then like literally was like, that doesn't work, but that is a thing. Now I'm confused. Oh, but no, what? So, what? How is it saying it's null when we can see that it's in the possible list here? Wayward bunker character. Yeah, you're running. This seems contradictory. Oh, but I guess for, I don't know if that actually is the one that I want. This hero variable might be qualified. That might be what's going on. And the thing in the list isn't. That seems possible. So we're looking for one for GI bunker. We're looking for one for freedom 6, termination, freedom 5, wayward bunker. Like, it's not null. Where? Oh, it's this log. It's a different log. They just looked similar. Okay, could not find the actual card. Right. So we're actually just temporarily creating a separate game. And probably, yeah, we're having a qualified identifier issue here, right? That's what's going on. So this actually should be, yeah, but the promo identifier needs to be double qualified here. Okay, so we are getting into here, and just blitzed out on that, I guess. So if it's a promo card, we need to say this and this. I don't care about foils. Then that should do it. Okay. Let's see if we get the choice in the list, and then we have to see. Oh, of course, Unity crashes. Great. Unity actually doesn't crash that much these days, for me anyway, but it sure crashed there. Let's see if we get the choice, and then we need to see, obviously, if the choice works. And mute audio. And we'll go splash screen so we get the engine logging. I mean, we might get it, yeah. Things can be tricky with these mod loading shenanigans and timing. All right. Bunker. Okay. We got... Interesting. That made everything fail. Oh, this was just... This is the wrong... This should be... Promos of... The qualified identifier, not the qualified promo identifier. I don't know why we don't have a qualified identifier, but at least this will work for this bunker one, but I don't think it's going to work for the cricket one. Don't crash. It should work for this case, but not the next case, I think. I have to add another property for that. We probably just haven't needed it for whatever reason. Still not happy. Let's just say. So we're passing this promo, and then we're making a game with the turn takers and the promos. And we're looking for... Like, we're just making a game with just that one hero. And we're making... Like, we're just doing this to make a card object, which you kind of have to make a game for reasons. We find the first hero. We look for the character card that has the same definition. But since definitions are cached, it should be the same. But I wonder if it's not for some reason. I think the first thing we do is make sure this construction is correct. Because it should be like bunker equals workshopping dot wayward bunker. And if it's not that, it definitely won't work. Well, bunker character. Yeah, bunker character equals workshopping dot wayward bunker character. So that's interesting that I wonder if it's that like the definition doesn't have actual equality. I mean, we don't care that they are exactly equal, do we? Like, can we just say as long as it's the same one? Might be weird for skyscraper, but it is weird. I mean, yeah, I mean, it might be there's some things that aren't being cached in the way that we expect due to mods. I think that's actually not unlikely. It could also be the way that the promos are being made by character instead of by deck. Why we go in there? Let's click this. again. So that check is not exact equality. Log out the game. It might be because of how we're setting the promo that it's not working. This one. Bunker, character card, no promo identifier. So it didn't load the promo, even though we passed the promo that way. So I wonder, just like on a lark, if we do it this way. Because there's two ways to specify promos. You can specify them by turn taker, or you can specify them by character because of the Sentinels. And it might be that the way with the character on it isn't working for mods yet, and so then this isn't. Hope you like the glamorous side of game development where you try to sort out something this way for hours and hours. That's the reality. All right. Yeah, so it works that way. But obviously I can't just have a string at bunker. But we also can't necessarily have it be... It needs to still work with the Sentinels. So I guess what we need to do is make the game constructor work better. I think it's just not accepting this correctly in the game constructor. I don't know why Unity can't agree on which instance of Visual Studio gets it when it's double clicked. So game constructor has to handles the promos. Handle individually replaced characters. Character promo identifiers. Yeah. Handle individually replaced characters. It says it's going to do that. Okay. We're going into... And we care most about hero turn taker, but it probably doesn't matter. Yeah, it's base class is where things happen. This passes in the character promo identifiers. And... we're just adding them in. Right, but we are passing in the workshopping dot, right? Oh, what are you doing to Immunity? Yeah. So let's just uncomment these so we can see. Because, like, for some reason it's not finding it correctly. But I'm not getting a warning or an error about it. So that's what I'm confused about a little bit. All right, once I click this, it does the things we're interested in. So promo identifiers are blank. So in the previous ones, like promo identifiers are Freedom 5 bunker character. Found the promo definition. We make the game. That still seems wrong, but it does find it. For whatever reason. So then we go to Wayward Bunker. We pass in the promo identifiers according to the code. But by the time it logs this out in here, it's like, those are blank. What are you talking about? Why are you saying they're blank? That's why there's no promo, because it's not there. What I say is up with that. We're not like, yeah, and it should be coming in as the character promo identifiers, and it's adding them in. So where are we losing those? And why? Promo identifiers. We save them. We look for the one, that turn taker. It's not found. That's fine. Oh, we strip them out. We stripped them out because we don't know about them here at this point. That's what's happening. I bet I can put a log in here, but that's what this does, right? For each promo identifier, we just look for the ones that match and pass them into just that turn taker. So do we just don't do that? Just always pass in all of them, and like if they don't match, then ignore them. That seems fine, right? Like as long as the logic down here can be like, well, I'd never heard of that card at that point down later. Potentially. And you end up with a bunch of garbage. So I think actually just pass in, yeah, we don't need to look in the promo identifiers. Pass in identifiers that match the characters. Right? So for each one, card definitions if the identifier matches and or if it's a character and the identifier matches, then it's okay. Right now it's just looking for like existing promos, which obviously with mods we're not going to know about them. And that shouldn't break the world. We'll see. Might break the world. Oh no, stop. So if we get a promo that matches the identifier of one of our character cards, then it's allowed, basically. I think we were getting filtered off there. This change will be needed for the Sentinels as well, so. All right. We're going to clear, and we're going to confirm, and oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. We found the promo definition. We have the game. This still doesn't, I don't know why that says that. Maybe it's weird. Wayward Bunker, right? All right. Now, can we actually pick it? And will that actually work? No, it just like totally did wrong. It didn't actually let me put bunker below. So if I click this and confirm, yeah, something goes wrong because we're supposed to get to use bunker's power or deal damage. And something, yeah. This is looking to see, it's creating a card and then it's null, so there's a null reference. It's just like skipping a bunch of logic because there's no definition at the right point. All right, we're gonna continue. Continue on. So completionist guys is now, right, we're getting to this point, right? That's what this log is. Owner deck definition. Yeah, so here once we get from the decision, this is what happened earlier, right? We're back to this point where we answered the decision. We say we're creating the card for the variant. The owner deck definition is bunker. And then, right, it's literally just looking in that deck's promo cards and saying, give me the promo card, but it's not there, right? Because it's from a mod. And we need to handle that. We don't have the namespace available. We could, but that's probably gonna, well, we'll see. Yeah, so we're looking in the regular cards, then we're looking in the promo cards. And honestly, this doesn't need to, this can just like look in both. Do you have a thing called like all card definitions? Yeah. That like includes the promos and subdecks. We don't need subdecks. Let's just do that. Right. I guess that's looking at promo identifier versus identifier. So sure, it can be a little different. Because guys. So I guess we can continue like maybe like this. It's a mod variant, right? Probably. Mod helper, help us. Get promo definition. Qualified deck identifier. And a qualified promo identifier. For example, the one that I want to get right now. So we don't have a qualified promo identifier right now. And so we could either try to not have to have it or change the select from the box to use qualified identifier, which is probably the best thing to do, right? And this can like log. Let's just put this in here to like help us out. So yeah, we need to be able to do this. So we need that either we need to have a qualified identifier or have a function that or have this be able to just look up one, but there could be two mods with the same variant name or identifier, right? So you need to be able to separate by namespace, basically. And so that's why we have these namespaces. So I think select from box needs to bite the bullet and use qualified identifiers. Turn tag identifier and then qualified character identifier. So we need to go and find where all the places that this uses is used and make sure they're qualified. So let's do that. Choices. Right, so I guess this thing, the UI needs to return back qualified ones. That's where those choices come from, is the get hero cards in box. So correspondingly, the UI needs to, let's build this. The UI needs to provide those as qualified. So back we go to the UI. Which shouldn't affect anything existing. That's only really affects mods. Yeah, so this is passing the promo identifier or identifier. So I actually want to have a qualified promo identifier or identifier. Woof. Card definition. Qualified promo identifier. Whoops. The identifier, promo identifier, or identifier. Qualified promo identifier or identifier. Which is basically just a property that if it's a promo, it returns that, if otherwise it doesn't. And yeah, we're just going to do basically that. Pretty simple. But a little bit of a mouthful, I'd have to say. All right, now we should have access to that qualified promo identifier or identifier. And maybe I'll use this here in the log. Oh, right. Does this... I don't know if the criteria cares about it. I don't know what the criteria actually wants. So let's at least put it in the result. That's what's important. We might also have to put it in the other thing. I'd have to look at each of the criteria functions and see what they want, right? Like, yeah, most of them are just checking non-qualified. Oh, that looks complicated. The Sentinels. Maybe I'll get David to look at that. I'm muddling my way through here. All right, so now with this change, these identifiers here should be qualified. So we can pass this through and it should work. So let's see. Unless we missed a step, which is possible. Oh, and now we're missing, right. So since now we're returning, there are places that are probably not, that weren't expecting qualified that are now. Yeah, we're adding in the qualified thing here where we weren't expecting it before. Right. Well, pending that, we'll still pick bunker. And now we also don't see that. All right. I've made it worse. I've made it worse. Let's go back to the first step. The first step in guys is this one, right? Where we ask, what are all the heroes that have available promos to swap in? And does all of these things that say promo identifier need to say qualified? Probably. No. Oof. Yeah. These are looking for promo identifier, but we probably need to say qualified now. There's too much going on here to fit in brain at once is part of the problem. So another thing we could do is, instead of changing that, like this was the change, right? Yeah, but really the problem is you could have two mods that have the same character identifier, and then you'd have two of the same identifier, which is not a good idea. So I think this does need to be qualified. And we do need to go back to the start. And we'll get back to where we were, but we need to go back to the start, I think. Which sucks, but we need to do that. So back to the first select from box. The first select from box is finding out which of these heroes have anything that we could swap. So this is the UI handle get hero cards and box request. We find every hero. We find the heroes that fit the turn taker criteria. That should be just the same. Then we find every card and we ask, does it fit the identifier criteria? And the identifier criteria, I think, is going to need to do that. Okay, so we can also just check. We can just filter this. We're filtering it down here. I'm going to filter it here. Seed is character and C is real card. Okay, so we're going through every card. We're going to pass the qualified one through to the criteria. We're going to put that in the result. Okay, we're just always going to use the qualified one, and we're going to unpack it later if we need. So we should make sure that our answer to this question is correct before we move on. And getting rid of those other checking non-character cards is just not necessary, so clear those up. All right. All right, clear the log, use the power. So, we're checking, we filter to all the heroes that are in the game. We check all the character cards. We're finding, GI bunkers in the box, Freedom 6 bunkers in the box. Workshopping.wayward bunker character is in the box. That's good. Guys has his characters in the box. Now we're checking Cricket. Cauldron.cricket is in the box. Cauldron, Cricket, Cauldron, whatever's in the box. So these are coming back. We're sending these to the engine as answers. So Tango 1 and Cricket, and even the workshopping one, those are all going back to the engine, but the engine is not sending them here. So there's some disconnect there. We are sending them back. And so we need to look now in the engine and see what happened there. So, viable replacement hero cards. We ask get hero cards in the box. Right, and actually we do need these checks to be qualified. This one. And this is the card version, which can just return the definition version. This needs to check qualified as well. Right, and then the engine filters it again here by the promo card definitions. Interesting. Okay. So this actually was coincidentally working, but it probably was a problem, and we didn't really realize it, that it's filtering it by, as long as the promo card definition has a promo that matches intersecting viable replacement hero cards. Yeah, I'm not. Get the initial cards and promos card, compare them to our list of viable replacements. Like, these are the ones that the UI says. Then the engine is like also pulling it, getting its own list. I don't know why it doesn't trust what the UI said. Oh, I guess the hero choices are the heroes that are in the game that have choices here. Right. So the hero choices are the heroes that are in the game at all. And then viable hero choices should be the heroes that are in the game that have anything in this list. But I don't know why it cares about the promo card definitions. It should just care that there's anything in here with the same hero identifier, like deck identifier. Like, this seems overcomplicated, but it might be for a reason, because guys, but like hero choices dot where. Right, that's just a list of strings. But it's like ignoring a bunch of the information. It's ignoring the keys, which is like what you need here. Is this used anywhere else? I don't think so. Yeah, that's like ignoring, like, don't select off the key. Like, basically, this is like all cards in box. Like, we already filtered it by the current heroes in the game. So I don't know why we're double filtering it here. I might have to ask David about, like, there seems to be, it's just like doing extra checks. That I don't understand why. Like, these criteria are already filtering off what this is doing. So we do need to get cards. No, these are, yeah, we need to select the heroes that connect to those, which is literally just viable hero choices, I guess. And yeah, that can be fine, but like, it's still true if it's any or any, but like, we're basically like hero choices. Wherever, I guess we actually care about the keys, right? Because this is a list of key value pairs. So we could just make a dictionary out of it, because it's basically, I guess it's not a dictionary because it's not exactly. But like, if any of these have the key of these hero choices, then of the deck identifier, right? Dot any parent deck dot qualified identifier. Yeah, so this ends up being a list of cards. So this is a list of like deck identifier to promo identifier, and this is all the character cards in the game, hero character cards in the game, and then this is like any of those heroes where there's a thing for that. I guess this doesn't have deal with the Sentinels properly. Or does it? The key is a deck identifier though, right? So let's try this. I might be breaking everything, but I think that makes sense. This just seems like, I mean, it's limiting it to the promo card definitions, which is not going to work to begin with. So I think it just happened to work somehow before. We'll see how far I get. All right. Game still works. Impressive collection. Hey, that's what we're expecting, so that's good. Again, the UI is still sending the same information back, which is all of the variants that are allowed. Okay. Including qualified identifiers throughout. So if we choose bunker, so we aren't seeing the last one. So let's see. So again, we're like asking what's in the box again. We might have the same sort of filtering issue happening actually in the engine here. Because the UI is sending back, yeah, we've got bunker, workshopping, wayward bunker character. That's real. This is stripping off, but that might be, this was in the engine, right? Yeah. Oh no, this is, yeah, I think that's in the engine. No, that's in the UI. Could not find current definition. Right. This is in the UI. I think we're probably not looking by, well, we're looking by like, yeah, we're not looking by qualified here. So let's get back. This needs to be updated to use qualified promo. I mean, this is literally our log, but also the actual call needs to do that. And this is already using the qualified one. And we don't care about foil. And this is just a log, but it can do that too. So we got back to where we were. Well, not quite. We were at the point where we were able to choose it and it didn't work. We're not able to choose it yet. Let's carry on. Okay, so we choose bunker. We don't. Oh, we got an exception. From what? 443. Qualified, right? Probably look everywhere where we're not using qualified and replace it. Mods are complicated, yo. It's good just to like mods don't get to participate in being in the box. Okay. Hey, there is our wayward bunker, the moment of truth. It worked. Use the power on bunker, and bunker is now wayward bunker, and OG bunker is down there. That's exciting. All right, let's go back. One thing I'm not sure is going to still work is replacing the mod variant. Yeah, because this is passing in qualified identifiers to places that aren't expecting them to be qualified now. And so we need to strip that or deal with it. So we fixed one thing and broke another. Welcome to development. So we are finding the allowed, yeah, so we got 2 in the box heroes, Tango 1 and Ghost Ops. And, oh, interesting. It's passing the original one also. Right? Yeah, it shouldn't be, I guess, yeah, we pass that to the engine, but the engine shouldn't be saying you can use that. Right, that wasn't the case with bunker. If we choose bunker, it's not like you can replace it with a regular bunker. Yeah. But I think that's what we've got here is snipe 1, target 1 damage. Oh, I went back too far. Yeah, so we ended up just with the card that's already there as the replacement, which is the reverse of what we want. So number 1, the engine shouldn't be saying, hey, like the UI should be checking that one, but the engine should be saying, no, you can't use that because that's the one I already have. And then it should be obviously showing the right ones. But there's errors here because it's not finding it because we're including the namespace. So we need to handle that. All right, I'm going to take another quick stretching break. I'll be right back. BRB again. And we'll carry on with this. All right, the snow continues to fall. Okay, so we are having an issue with mod. We're back to mod promos of themselves not working, but that's because of the qualified thing that we're doing here. So back in the engine, yeah, it's not at this point, it's at the next point. Right, the strings here are using qualified now. Yes, that's for later. Sentinels and so on. That's using qualified. Yeah, so right, yeah, I think this change should fix the problem where it was including the one that was in play. And then we were having a problem with then it was I think an issue in the UI. So I think if let's build this. This should prevent it from having the same card that's already there because of that. And then the UI is like making that like fake little game with the card, and that's causing a problem, which we might be able to handle just by having a change in the engine as well, but let's take a look. Oh no, not a new game. Continue game. All right, let's use the power. Let's click Tango. And yeah, so we get blank here, which is actually what I expected because the engine is saying, yeah, Tango and character is not in the box, it's in play. Thumbs up. But then in the UI, when we're making these choices here, that is where we're getting these problems. And we're saying, we're using the same, like, we're setting it in wrong, basically, to the engine. And the engine is like, that's not in there. So we could either have the game, like, accept that, or we could have the UI not send it that way, basically. Because it's sending in, like, the qualified promo identifier, which isn't necessary for the mod, right? And then it can't find it because it's not expecting that within its own namespace. And that is in here where it's creating this stuff, right? Yeah. It's creating this stuff to setting promo Tango and character equals that. And that is not something that it's expecting. Because it's looking at the Tango 1 deck list and looking for, it should be looking for Ghost Ops Tango 1 character, but it can't find cauldron.ghostops Tango 1 character. I think probably the easiest thing to do here is just have the game be resilient to that and like be like, well, I'm gonna notice that it has a dot and strip it off and look again. Maybe that could cause problems with duplicates. We could just, if it's got the same namespace, then strip it off, potentially. Alternatively, this could just do that. Basically, here, we would do that. We still need to use, a qualified promo identifier if it's the same as the hero definition. If it's the same namespace, we need to not put it, basically. So basically, if hero definition dot namespace equals card definition dot namespace, then don't use qualified. Otherwise, use qualified. And we can actually just like, when we're logging, just do the lookup. Yeah, so basically, don't send in qualified promo identifier within the same deck. But if it's cross deck, then it needs to be qualified. Basically is the, I believe, the solution here. One day we will have this working. Might be today, if I didn't break everything else. All right, So we're going to look at this. Hey, we got ghost ops. We got lead the target. We pick ghost ops. Oh, but same problem, but on the next step. But I think we can just have the same type of fix in the engine once guys picks it, right? So down here, all right, I think this needs to use qualified as well. This is once we actually chose a replacement, which we could probably yeah, I guess it mentions that there. We have to create it, and yeah, if we use qualified promo identifier here, then it will find it within the owner deck definition. So, because this is qualified, and these are always qualified. Card definition. If it's a, yeah. Oh, is it if it's gonna be a non-promo? Is it qualified? No, I don't think so. Maybe. I think this is. Then again, we've got all this stuff for later. Yeah, I feel like this is a minefield. This should find it in that deck definition, though. Yikes. Let's see. I forgot my water. Grab that. Looks like we have about 5 centimeters of snow so far. All right, continue game. And use the power. We'll click this, and then the issue we have now is when we actually choose it. Hey, all right, that worked. So we replaced it with the new variant Ghost Ops, and we get to use the original power. Cool. All right, let's just go back and verify we didn't break the bunker case. So we pick bunker. We get that and that. Nice. We replace that. We get to use the power. Cool. We could also check, like, do we get to, like, use a normal variant? Does that still work? Good. Okay. Not going to be confident about the Sentinels just yet, but we'll check those after. And then, so the last case is a cross-mod variant, which we have with Cricket here. And Noisy Cricket, little midgie. That's right. That's my weird text, probably. And we get, more errors. So this looks like it's not preserving the workshopping namespace. Oh, it is here. Okay. So in engine, We do pass in workshopping Noisy Cricket character, creating a card for the variant. Mod helper get type for card controller failed. So it is trying. I wonder if the engine registers those, right? Oh, but not maybe. It's stripped. Something's getting stripped. Like we're losing something. It should be coming in here, right? Well, actually, we did get a card definition. Man, I really want that to have more information. Let's go to card definition and improve the 2-string. Like namespace, promo. Okay, that'll just make my life a little easier. Like, what is the definition you got? Because with promos, they all say the same thing. So if that's the right definition, then it's getting it right there, but it's getting it wrong later. So there should be a path, if that's, excuse me, the case. All right, so guys, and excuse me, cricket, and workshopping, noisy cricket. Okay, so the card definition we get is correct. Namespace is workshopping, promo identifier, noisy cricket. But then later, this is when it's interesting. So we find the card definition and we go to the creator, we create the card. Or is it, where are we? Card controller factory create instance. So we make the card with the definition. We're trying to make the card controller with the card. And that is failing. Or we're passing something wrong to find the thing. Oh, right, because are we overriding namespace? Because this isn't, but that is qualified. You turn on some of this logging too, I guess. It says we're getting into mod helper get type with deck identifier and card identifier, which it needs the namespace there, or it's not going to be able to find it. So right, this needs to be qualified. I think that's what's going on here. That could break a lot of things. This is used by a lot of things, but I think that should still be okay. Oh, I need to build it. And we'll see what's going on at least. And hopefully it didn't break the world. Guess we made that mod helper deal with things being both oh yeah, interesting. So this is, yeah, but does this know? Yeah, I'm just having another thought about, we need to pass workshopping in there, right? Like that's what needs to happen. Or no, that doesn't actually need to. That's not how the namespaces for cross promos work, right? I don't think this will work. Just like rambling about it. I think those are set up a little differently, aren't they? Oh, like completely doesn't even work. Yeah. Okay. So what we did there broke everything. So let's not do that. Yeah, the card identifier is still the card identifier. That is law. It should not be qualified. So what are we doing here? Let's just go. Maybe comment this just to have some more noise in our log, but also information. And maybe I'll say log in here where Guys is actually doing this. Creating card controller. Just so we have a spot that we can look at. Okay, back to our game. Should actually work, because I took away the thing that made everything not work. Let's do this. Let's choose cricket. That all is okay. Now we're going to actually replace the card. All right. We get here where we're creating the card controller. The engine says the card object is correct. It's noisy cricket character. Override namespace cauldron.cricket. But is that the right namespace? Because should the namespace be that, or should be, I think that might be right. Let me see. But the mod helper might be like, mod helper is trying, right? Like it's trying all the assemblies to try to find a class with that name. Oh, but I wonder if, yeah. Let's see. It might be, my other thing here might have ruined it. Where's our new instance? I need to go to my mod where this card is. So where this card is in workshopping.cricket and workshopping.bunker, for example. So that override namespace is causing the problem. Yeah, because we'd like this to be coming in as workshopping.cricket, and the card identifier is right? Noisy cricket character. But the right, and actually I want it to be just cricket because then it looks for like, is there anything with .cricket whatever, or I mean it could be workshopping.cricket, that would be fine, and it would be workshopping.cricket whatever. So the problem is the override namespace, and that is being passed in here by guys, and that is wrong in this case. I'm wondering why this works for the bunker one. I guess because it just sends in bunker and then it looks for any of them. So I think we need to see if the card def dot namespace, or like, yeah, is mod content, right? Or just namespace. Like, why do we override the namespace in the first place here? Oh, right, because Guys is owning it. Right, that's why. Because we don't, otherwise it would be like looking it up as Guys' card. So normally the override namespace is going to be bunker or whatever. But if the namespace is going to be belonging to whatever the card is, if it's a mod content, right? Is it? No. Yeah, we want a combination, I guess. So we could just write down the different cases. I'm starting to think this is getting too complicated. So normal case, we have I don't know if I want to write down these cases. I'm just thinking about it. I know it's not great TV. But writing them down also is complicated or long. Okay. Yeah. This is turning over in my brain too much. Starting to get overloaded by this foolishness. I blame Guys. I'm going to take a quick break. Clear my head. Haven't looked at the snow for a while. Didn't solve anything, but it's good to reset. A little bit of semantic satiation going on with all of this. Okay. So what's the problem here? We want to find, or I want to find the class for this promo. And normally we're passing in like bunker or whatever, but that's not. We're passing in cauldron.cricket. We want it to be workshopping.cricket. And we're getting cauldron.cricket because that's where the original deck is from, but workshopping.cricket is where the where this is from. So yeah, so if the card has a namespace, we want to use that namespace. Maybe not exactly that namespace. But something related to it. So I'm just going to go bit by bit because I'm getting a little fuzzed out on this right now. And I want to get it to a point where we can stop. So let's try this and see what it's going to try to do, because we'll have a log saying what the override namespace is trying to be. All right, so let's continue game. And pick this, and pick this, and then pick this. So I don't expect it's going to work, but I want to see what it's going to try to do. So we're trying to use namespace workshopping, which isn't going to be right? It wants workshopping.cricket. So yeah, so that's what we need. We need the override namespace is going to be the card's namespace plus the selected turn taker identifier. So in the normal case, we can just use the, but with cross mod variants, we need to build the right namespace. I don't know how good that documentation is, but it's helping me right now. And also this. Okay. And 0.1. So that's going to get us. So this is workshopping, and this is bunker, or workshopping and cricket, or whatever it is. But this actually is cauldron.cricket. So we actually need to not. Yeah. Owner. Yeah. We need that to not be literally that. I think it's owner deck definition dot identifier, actually. Because we don't want it to be workshopping.cauldron.cricket. It should be just workshopping.cricket or workshopping.bunker. So I think that's good. We'll see. Guys, he is strong and cute and wise. Okay. Will we find the right code? We found it. We unlocked the code. The code is that. Amazing. Okay. And then the original cricket is down here, which we could use the power, and that will all be fine. All right. So, did we break everything else by doing that? Let's try our other cases. So, obviously, I mean, maybe not obviously. All these things should be okay with existing content, except maybe we broke the Sentinels or Skyscraper. But Bunker with Wayward Bunker is okay. That's Wayward Bunker, right? Yeah. And that should be also using the new logic we put in. It just happened to work before, kind of accidentally. And replacing Tango 1 with, let's do the second one. Leave the target. That also works. Okay. That is all working. I feel good. There's one more thing though. And that is, will the game load properly? Because there's another, well, also can we use the power again? So there's more to it. But let's see if we go and continue the game from here. Is it correct? Because there's also shenanigans with continuing the game and stuff with completionist guys. And yeah, so it went back. Oh. Yeah, it didn't actually save the game. Ever? What? That is... What? Okay, let's replace the variant one. Are we having like errors with saving? It's tough when I've got like errors coming through for other things with the graphics. Just keep an eye on this here. Yeah, we're saving. We can rewind. Well, we'll just rewind to the same phase. Failed to load. Argument cannot be null. Aha! So it just, there's a function in the game when you continue, it will like load the latest undo file that works. And yeah, so loading the game is failing. Because guys! Card definition not found in Tango 1 deck list for promo card. Right, this is because Guys is storing things. So that's part of this override turn taker, I believe. This might be something to look at for the next time. Because I think it's working within the game, but not when you load a game. So I just want to verify that I didn't break Completionist Guys with core game stuff. So let's do that and then make a note for next time, because I'm done with this stuff for today, I think. So we'll make... Oh, continue game now. Well, I guess we can verify that if I use my power on Bunker and just replace Bunker, And I think the issue is going to be with mod content specifically, right? Not in general. Yeah, that's fine. Like we can go back to Guys' turn, draw a card. Yeah. Okay, so that's fine. But I do want to, well, what we can do a live test, but I also want to test in the engine unit tests that I didn't break things there. But if we make a new game with sure Baron Blade and Completionist Guys and the Sentinels and sure, and we'll bring that bunker as well. And wherever. I have a suspicion that I might have broken the Sentinels. And maybe not in a way that's obvious even on the first turn here, but so if we choose Dr. Medico, okay, it just chose the one. So I was thinking it might be like replace Dr. Medico with like every other, like with Mainstay, but that didn't work. That didn't happen. So I think it actually is okay. So let's run the tests and find out. So debug, and I'll just run, well, I'll start with the Completionist Guys tests because that's the main thing that I changed. Seems good. So there's some that don't work on my computer because of saving and loading. Let's run all the tests and see if we're happy with that. So yeah, so I think we got to a good point here. I'm just gonna like make a card, convert this to a card because it's been a lot. So we had select a variant of a mod within the mod. Mod variant of regular hero. Mod variant of other mod hero. Load a game after changing. I'm just going to basically load a game after changing. Okay, so those three things are working. But continuing the game doesn't, which obviously is non-good. But everything else seems okay, and the logic I deleted doesn't seem to be important, which usually isn't good, but I'll ask David about that and see if that's reasonable. Yeah, also Representative Earth, LOL. So yeah. So hopefully a lot of this stuff that I've done here is going to just carry over to Representative Earth and Oblivion Mode, but we'll see. So I got a couple test failures in the background here, but these are, I think, flaky tests that sometimes randomly fail. They don't have to do with guys. or anything like that. Okay. So yeah, so progress for sure on the completionist guys stuff. Also, placeholder improvements. Yeah, so we'll probably look to get a new build maybe next week, maybe not, with placeholder stuff and broken completionist guys support maybe. I don't know if I want to ship the broken completionist guys thing, so we'll see about that. But we can just probably make a quick adjustment to say mod stuff doesn't go into it until we get that sorted out. But yeah, it looks like the tests all worked well enough. Yeah, if I run these two again, they will just pass because they are flaky. But yeah, we'll continue along these lines next week, maybe mixing it up a bit because this is pretty brain scrambling. But yeah, we've got more stuff from the box, but hopefully not too much more to deal with there. Might bring in David or Jean-Marc to help out as well. Yeah, that's probably going to be it for today. I don't think there's anything. I guess I could look at like a couple small things, but that stuff is pretty brain frying. So I think that's going to be it for today. Let's commit our code. So in the engine, what can we change? Some logging. I don't need to necessarily commit that. Right, this is more relaxing the game creation. This is adding properties, improving the toString. This is all guys. This is right. Just to update to that documentation, and this is just a log. Okay. Oh, and yeah, these two are just logs. So I'm not going to commit those necessarily. So I'll just write this is working on supporting mods with completionist guys. Okay. And we'll push those up. Our automated tests will go on those as well to keep verifying those. And then in here, I'm just going to update the DLL. And I think in here, yeah, these are like changes for completionist guys as well. Some logging, but also some of those changes for qualified identifiers. Working on supporting select from box decisions with mods. That's more general than just completionist guys up at this level. So, all right. So those are, pretty good progress there. It's working to a point, but the aspect around loading a game is something I don't actually fully understand why that is the case. So I'm going to look into that and talk to David, because there's this like stuff and I'm sure that's what's getting caught up in there. But had enough of this code for today. So that is going to do it. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Have a great weekend.